Once again, welcome you all. We are into the second clip of the first lesson. The next topic, very important topic, is Mohenjo-daro, a well-planned urban center. Actually, the unique feature of this urban civilization is the development of urban centers. Please note down this, the development of urban centers. See, Mohenjo-daro is considered to be the most well-known site, but the first site to be discovered was Harappa. And this is a very important fact that Harappa is the first site to be discovered by the archaeologists, whereas Mohenjo-daro is the most famous one. Okay, now the Mohenjo-daro settlement, we are studying about the Mohenjo-daro settlement. Like last year in class 11th we studied about Ur and other countries, other cities and their settlement. The same way, Mohenjo-daro settlement is divided into two important sections. Please note down two important sections, and the first one is smaller in size, very important, smaller in size but higher in platform, and this is called Citadel. We'll study. The other is very larger in size but lower in platform. So if you can look at this picture quickly, see, Citadel is considered to be located in a very higher platform, whereas lower town is considered to be in a lower platform. So Citadel small in size but higher in platform, whereas lower town is larger in size but very lower in a platform. Now, archaeologists designate these as Citadel and Lower Town respectively. As I told you, the first one, that is smaller in size, is Citadel, and larger one is Lower Town. Okay. Now, Citadel we will be doing it later, but before that, a brief introduction about Citadel. Citadel owes to its height. As the important point to be noted for Citadel, its height. It is located in a higher platform. To the fact the buildings were constructed on mud brick platforms. Okay, so the buildings in Citadel were constructed in a mud brick platform and it was walled. Okay, which means that this is physically separated from the lower town. So since there is a boundary between this lower town and Citadel, so physically there is a separation between these two. Now we are going to see the lower town in an elaborative manner. Then we will go to the Citadel. Okay, now lower town was also walled. Okay, very important. Both lower town and Citadel both are walled, both have got boundaries. Okay, now many buildings in lower town were built on platforms here also, which served as the foundation. So what they did is, first they made the foundation. Okay, platform foundation pehle banaya, then they build the buildings. That shows the clear cut planning that went into the construction of the city. So first they went for the foundation, then they built on this the buildings. Okay, so this is calculated that 1 cubic meter of earth means brick. Agar one laborer itna kuch ek din mein karta, so it required almost 4 million, that is 40 lakhs people required to do this kind of foundation. That shows mobilizing a labor on a very large scale. That shows how many the amount of labor went on to make this foundation, that is being mentioned here. And once the platforms were set, then the building activity took place. So I told you, first platform, then the building activity. That shows that it is clear cut planning went into. So it was first planned, then implemented accordingly, and shows even the how much the standard of the ratio of bricks to be used, and breadth and length of the bricks, and how much everything was clear cut planning. Okay, first platform, then building, then even the size of the brick to be used also was so much planned. Okay, that is about planned settlement. Okay, so this lower town को हम 3 पॉइंट में डिवाइड कर सकते हैं. लोअर टाउन के बारे में जब आपको कोई क्वेश्चन आता है, फर्स्ट हेडिंग इज planned settlement. In planned settlement you have to write these two paragraphs को summarize करके लिखना है. Then next heading is planned drainage system, that is laying out drains. Here also same thing, what they did is, first they before getting into building the houses, first they made sure that the roads and streets were laid out along an approximate, so there was a well planned drainage system. Then all the streets and the roads were connected to this drainage system in a very grid pattern. Means you are connecting all the angles to the to one drainage system. So they are connecting everything to a drainage system, and it means that the streets and with the drains were laid first, then the house is built. See, again, such a wonderful planning done here. Today's time we may not see such kind of planning, but they have done this. The streets with the drains were laid first, then houses were built. Okay, if the domestic water to flow into the street, then every house needed to have at least one wall along the street. So this is a clear-cut planning for a drainage system. The third point is the residential buildings, the buildings that the houses, how houses were built in this lower town. The lower town provides an example of residential buildings. Okay, mostly people, lower town had the people living, and Citadel is mainly meant for some of the kings and maybe some royal people to live. That is an evidence that we have, otherwise that there is no clear cut proof for this. So residential buildings, and all the people were centered around this, all the activities centered around this courtyard only, because courtyard is a center of activity for cooking and weaving, particularly for different season and differently. Okay, hot season ke liye alag time, dry ke liye alag. Okay, now, and what is more interesting here is the concern for privacy. Okay, people at that time, they were so much concerned about privacy, and they built the house in such a way there were no windows in the walls, and the main entrance does not give the direct view of the interior house. Okay, entrance से आप देखोगे तो you cannot see the house directly inside, who is there inside and how many rooms are there, all that. And each house had their own bathroom, another very important fact to be noted. And if you see Mohenjo-daro, total number of wells in Mohenjo-daro is almost 700. You must note down this also, very important. Number of wells in Mohenjo-daro is 700 is the proof. Okay, now that is about lower town. Now next is Citadel. Very important, but only 2 points that you note down. That is, it is one is walled, we have already seen, and we find the evidence of structures that probably used for special purposes. Citadel is for special purposes. This include the warehouse. Okay, the house where people store their things and other things, the massive structure, and it is used of brick lower portion mein, and upper portion it's made of wood. And the second one is, that is the great path. Great path is a large rectangular tank, okay, in a courtyard surrounded by the corridor for all the four sides. Okay, so this is used for some special ceremonies and all that. And warehouse is the place where they store the house and store the things and the rest of the things. Okay, so a citadel includes two important this includes two things. One is the warehouse, the second one is the great path, and both are used for some public purposes, used for special public purposes. So lower town and citadel, these are the two answers you have to elaborately write in your answer. When a question comes, explain Mohenjo-daro, a well planned urban center, then the answer is lower town and citadel को आपको अच्छे से explain करना पड़ेगा. So see you in the next topic in the next video, and please take care of yourself.